When life throws you lemons. Make lemonade. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you are new here, then hello, my name is Lon. I'm so glad you're here. Today's video is part of the 5 under 5. I'll tell you more about that in just a little bit. Let's go ahead and jump right into the DIYs. Okay guys, so for this first DIY, I'm going in with a piece of scrapbooking paper that I picked up from Joann, some Mod Podge, and a crafter square wood piece. So just to give you just a teeny bit about this challenge, it's a 5 under 5 where we have to create 5 DIYs under $5. This month's theme is lemons. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. I am taking this wood block and putting it on the right side of the scrapbooking paper, and I'm tracing around the edges of the wood, because what I want to do is do a decoupage technique where I'm going to cut this out and then use some Mod Podge to glue it onto the piece of wood. When I cut it out, I cut on the outer side of the trace line. Doing this also ensures that you will have complete coverage over your edges. So you can't have lemons without lemonade, right? So I thought it'd be super cute to write out a lemonade recipe. So I went to the old Google and typed in easy lemonade recipe, and this is the recipe that came out. So again, this is not my recipe. I don't know how it tastes, decoration, and so I didn't try it, but I mean, it looks legit, right? So I started out trying to use a marker, and that marker was a little bit dry, so I had to go back over it with my Sharpie. Scrapbooking paper won't lift. Then I go in with that piece of paper, and I go back over that really well with the Mod Podge too. Now, once that has dried really well, it gives a really shiny, pretty finish to it. And this is how it turns out if you use the nail file to sand off your edges. It's very clean and it doesn't leave gaps. Again, you have to use a downward motion when you are going in and removing the extra paper from the edges. I got this technique from Bree's Art, and I thought it was really great. Thanks for the inspiration, Bree. So this is how it turned out. A super easy project that you can do. If you do not like your handwriting, you can use some rub-on transfers from Dollar Tree or print out a recipe and decoupage it on. So this video is part of an open playlist, the 5 Under 5 DIY Challenge. This video takes place on the 5th of each month, and it is hosted by Missy from Crafty Cove DIY and Emily from Farm Charm Chic, and this month's co-host is Jackie from Blessed Beyond Measure. I will link all of their channels in the description box below, as well as this playlist. Okay guys, for DIY number 2, I headed over to the Dollar General and I picked up one of these little signs. I think it says, "Don't go baking my heart." It was super cute, but I figured it was $1, same as the Dollar Tree, and I wanted to make it over. So I went in with some painter's tape. I went in with white Waverly chalk paint. And guys, I haven't used white Waverly chalk paint in so long because I've been using my new favorite color, plaster, that it almost looked just weird to me. I did 2 coats of this and I really wasn't liking it. So I actually went back over with plaster and knocked it down. I lost some footage, but what I did do was I went in with a fan brush and I just lightly dusted over the yellow to kind of give it my decal a little bit of pop. I cut that decal out on my silhouette. I forget what font I used, but if I can remember, I will link that in the description box below as well. And in order for it to adhere a little bit better, I went in with some Mod Podge and did a thin coat of that. And once it was dry, I put the decal on it. And this is how that project turned out. I made a very simple shoestring bow, and that was it, guys. Again, if you do not have access to a vinyl cutting machine, the Dollar Tree sells really great rub-ons. Okay, moving into DIY number 3. So for this project, I picked up one of those round wooden shapes at the Dollar Tree from the Crafter's Square. And I'm using the color Daffodil Yellow by Folk Art. I gave this, I think only just one coat. It covered very well. This was my first time using it. I was very surprised about that. But I gave this one full coat, and this was the color, or this is how it turned out. And to me, it was just screaming, let me be a lemon. I want to be a lemon. And I was like, okay, you could be a lemon. So I went in with some white, and I'm no artist by any means, but I used my scrapbooking paper here as a guide to kind of make the white sections for the lemon. And it was pretty decent. I mean, I don't know that it's going to get Academy Award, but I was pleased with it. And once I looked at it, it was just a little stark. So I went in with my black paint marker to give it a little dimension. Now, this project, you will see the completion with the 4th DIY. So I picked up one of the color your own or decorate your own mason jar. I'm loving these, by the way. This is my second time using this particular cutout. And so I went in with my favorite color plaster. Just look at it, y'all. Just let's stand in awe and look at how beautiful it is. But I went in with the plaster color for this project. And as I was doing this, I just kind of looked at it and I was like, okay, let's do some dimension on this. So let's make it look like a jar that it is. So I went around and I just, I made lines and dots and lines and dots. And really I was going to go in and put a bunch of different lemons inside of it. But I thought, how cool would it be to just go ahead and do a 3D effect and hot glue that lemon you just made onto this mason jar. Here it is, and I just hot glued that on a generous amount. And because now a lemon on the front of it, it was heavy. So in order for it to stand up, I went in with some Jenga blocks. And I put those together. I think I put 4 together, and then I hot glued them onto the lower half. And as I was doing this, I stood the mason jar up so it would be flush with whatever it's going to sit on. If you are here from the playlist, thank you so much for stopping by my channel. My name is Lon, and I create affordable DIYs and thrift flips on a budget. If you like what you see in today's video, I hope that you would consider subscribing to my channel. I have linked that in the description box below. And you guys already know I cannot forget about the new subscribers. Thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. And for all of those oldie but goodies, thank you so much for returning for another video and continuing to support my channel. Don't forget to hit that like button because it lets YouTube know that you like videos like this. Turn on your post notification bell. I like the way it turned out. I thought it was super cute. I just added a little jute twine around the neck of the jar, and this is how it turned out. So moving into our final DIY, and if you guys are still here with me, then type in the comments flip flop. Yes, that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this flip-flop that I found at the Dollar Tree, some lemon fabric that I got at Michael's. It's like a cut-off piece. It's not a full piece that was pre-folded, and some nautical rope. It's the thicker rope at Dollar Tree. Now, when I picked this up, I knew for full fact I should have picked up 2, but for whatever reason, I only picked up 1. And I don't know why, because usually you have a set of flip-flops. Anyways, I went in and I cut my fabric in half, And I put a generous amount of Mod Podge on this. When I say generous, it was quite a bit because I want to make sure that the fabric would adhere to the shoe. And what I will do, if I do find another one, I definitely will go in and make a set because I feel like it would be super cute to have a set of these to give to someone, because I probably more than likely will not keep this in my home. But I let that dry thoroughly, and then I went around the edges and cut it down. I went around the edges with my hot glue just in very small sections because I wanted to make sure that the fabric would adhere to the flip-flop. And so this is how that turned out afterwards. I pulled each section taut, and I just, like I said, I went in sections. So going in with the nautical rope, I did want to finish off the edges because it just looked very plain. And so I went in with the nautical rope, and I just, again, this is something, if you choose to do this, just take your time with it. Don't try to put a whole lot of hot glue because it will leak down the sides. So what I did was I measured the flip-flop just to make sure that I had enough nautical rope, and it was, and I actually had some left over. Here is a little snip of how I applied my glue in small sections and applied the rope. So basically I just put a small line of hot glue, and again, be careful with your fingers here. I was very cautious with my fingers by only touching the rope and not touching the actual shoe part. And once I put the little line of glue, I went down and I just pressed on that nautical rope and held it in place until it was dry, and I just worked my way around the entire shoe. And then next I took another piece of nautical rope and knotted the ends to be the makeshift strap. Now the funny thing about this is when I purchased this, I purchased several pieces of scrapbooking paper, and my first thought was to cover this with scrapbooking paper and do a decoupage technique. However, the scrapbooking paper and this flip-flop were not equal sizes. It was so big. It was much larger than the scrapbooking paper, and I would have had to cut it down and line it up together. So I picked this, when I got this fabric, I was going to do another project with it, but it ironically fit perfectly on this shoe. So that's how I used the fabric. So you could use fabric, you could use paper. It's just all your preference as to what you'd like to do. I thought it was cute because it's kind of like a summer theme. You know how you see the different flip-flops at Old Navy where they're different colors and the bottoms are different, and so I thought it was cute. So guys, this is the way it turned out. I added a little hanger at the top, and I like the way it looks. So let's go back and recap today's projects. Don't forget to head over and check out the playlist because there are some amazing crafters on this playlist and you don't want to miss out. And thank you so much to Missy and Emily for hosting this every month, and to Jackie for being the co-host for this month's theme. If you have a YouTube channel and would like to join, please feel free to DM Missy or Emily for details. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's video as much as I enjoyed making these lemon themed DIYs. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, because if you're not living life with Lon, then you're missing out. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.